Hey there, Shaun George here with N+1 Bikes, and today I am with Lara Donnelly.
Hello.
Anyway, so Lara is one of our team riders here at the shop, and she was formerly doing cross and triathlon. She used to work, not work, but she used to be at another bike shop, race for their team, and it was more of a tri-bike shop, but we're more of a mountain bike, gravel, road. So we're converting her over. Tell us a little bit about how you've done this like little switcheroo.
Just full honesty, I enjoy doing tries, not necessarily the swimming, but when I moved into like the off-road scene, the community is just so incredible. So I would make friends while I was riding. That's been the coolest thing about mountain biking, cyclocross, gravel. Other women are just excited to see their racing. It's not about numbers. The community is really awesome and cheering you on. There's a lot of hand ups. It's a very fun atmosphere. So I enjoy it.
Hand up clothing?
No, like in cyclocross, if someone is standing on the side with a beer, they will offer like a hand up for racers coming through. I don't take them because I would get very sick. But
So people give you beer at cyclocross?
Yeah. Huh. Or hot dogs on a stick or
hot dogs on a stick?
Yeah. Also made me almost throw up.
I could probably deal with hot dogs on a stick. Maybe it sounds a little weird, but hot dogs on a stick. So you got a stick and a hot dog, and you just come by and you bite it like as you're riding by. Is that how it works?
I guess, or you take it and toss it after you're done. I've also been offered money as I've been riding by. It's a fun time.
Sounds fun. You go cyclocross, they give you hot dogs.
Mm-hmm. Full meal, really.
And
hot
money.
Dog, money, and beer.
And you eat the hot dog, and you take the money and maybe buy some antacids afterwards.
Yes, yeah. Probably.
All right. I never got any beer, never got any hot dogs. I did race a cyclocross or 5, but none of that stuff ever happened. No one ever gave me a hot dog. No one ever gave me a beer. No one ever gave me anything except a hard way to go. But it was, and the race was overly just ridiculous. It was like I felt like my heart was going to explode.
Yeah, it is like a full out sprint for 30 to 45 minutes. And the heckling is part of it. So everybody gives you a hard time because I feel like that is like what cyclocross is. Sorry you didn't get to experience.
So beer, hot dogs, money, and a hard way to go.
Yes.
And then you pay money for that.
Yeah. Those are typically in like the lower cat races, like cat 5, cat 4, 3 women. They don't really do that in the professional races.
That was definitely me, cat 5, and I got no free stuff at all.
Sorry about that.
I would have definitely ate the hot dog. So what about triathlon? So you said you didn't like to swim? Did you swim in the Ohio River, by the way?
I did. And I don't love to swim, but the good news about the Ohio River is that it has a current. It has a lot of disgusting things in it also, but you at least have the current to help.
Like hot dogs on a stick?
Or cows floating in the river.
You saw a cow in the river?
There have been cows.
Okay, so that's the point, because you said that. Because like I used to race jet skis before. It was like bikes, and then motorcycle, or it was bikes, and then jet skis, and then motorcycles, and then back to bikes again. So one time while practicing out in the river, there was a cow, and it was some guy. I didn't see the cow at first, but some dude on the boat was like waving. He's like, "Hey, come get this cow off my anchor rope," because the current was really strong that day, and he had his rope, so it looked like the boat was moving because the current was so strong, and the rope was pulled tight like that had an anchor, and it was like might as well have been a metal rod or something like that, but. He's like, I could hear him going like, "Get this cow off my rope," and I was like, "This guy's what?" And I rode over there real quick, and there was a cow where the current had taken the cow and it wrapped the cow around we were wearing wetsuits, and it was like wind's thunder over a little bit, like where's my phone? Imagine that. So.
April-ish, like late April.
Yeah, so it was right around this time of year, and the water was freezing, so we had wetsuits on. But he wanted me to like get in the water in this current that was probably traveling 30 miles an hour or something and get this cow. I'm like, yeah, it's not going to happen. You're going to have to get the cow off yourself. But it was a cow, and it was wrapped. The current was so strong that it bent the cow around. The cow was dead. But anyway, enough about the cow. So you don't like swimming?
I don't love to swim. And the other thing is, like, when I did Ironman Louisville, when I jumped in the water to like start the swim, part of my goggles, one side didn't seal right. So thankfully I got hit in the face by another swimmer and it sealed my goggles, because when I got finished with the race, somebody else who had a goggle malfunction had a lot of like green stuff in their eyes. So I was really grateful that wasn't me.
So it sounds like this is a lot of fun, things that you like to do. And I'm glad you're switching kind of to mountain biking more, because hot dogs on a stick, beer, money, that sounds a little weird. Green eyeballs, cows in the water. That was not planned, by the way. You all, she mentioned the cow, and it reminded me.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
weird.
tell her about the cow first. I'm probably not saying it right. So the swim, what was your favorite part? Obviously the ride, maybe?
The cycling. So I hadn't really cycled much before I started training for an Ironman, and then I fell in love with cycling. So after Ironman Louisville was over, I jumped into a couple cyclocross races. I did gravel in Indiana, had a blast with that. And then I just wanted to be cycling. And more than anything, I love to be like in the woods and on trails. So mountain biking was like the natural next step for me.
Right on. So, have you been in any mountain bike races yet?
Yes, I raced a few of the Bluegrass Mountain Cup races last year, and I plan to do as many of those. I do still want to do some cyclocross races this year, because nationals are going to be back here in Louisville, and would love to race.
I'm definitely coming. I want to see you eat a hot dog off of this.
I will not be eating a hot dog or taking a hand up.
Next time I go to a cyclocross race, which might happen, likely not, but possibly, but maybe not. I am definitely going to, if I do go, I am going to take sticks and I'm going to take hot dogs. And I'm going to put wasabi inside.
Oh my gosh.
That'll be the way to go.
Why? Why not? People will definitely throw up in the middle of the race. I mean, I guess that makes it
sounds like that's
more
what
fun.
we're supposed to do. It's supposed to be a fun thing. I will have fun watching that. Like, they'll come by, take a hot dog, and then they'll eat it, and they're like, and then they'll be like, my ears, kind of like in that. Did you see that video we did with Barry?
No.
And anyway, he did this. I do these food videos with a buddy of mine sometimes, like reviews, and I challenge him to this hot sauce called Flatline. It's the world's hottest hot sauce, and you're supposed to take like a little pin dot of it and try it, and he like literally, he was like being Mr. Macho Man. He's like, and he like, it was like a half a teaspoon. I'm telling you, this hot sauce, if you put a teaspoon in a 10-quart pot of chili, nobody could eat the chili. That's how hot it is. It's an extract. It's like 70 million Scoville. I don't know if I said that right. Anyway, he took a half a teaspoon of it, ate the cracker, and he was like, "Oh, I'm fine." Next thing I know, he's in the bathroom. He kept his mic on, so he was in there just making noises, yelling about his ears. My ears are burning. He was yelling. It's pretty funny.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he came
survived.
through. We got him some like this milk with some kind of like milk stuff that was at the restaurant, and he drank it, and it helped. But it was about 15 minutes of hell he went through. So I don't know how we got on that subject.
I feel like
I'm jumping all over the place.
Well, you were talking about how funny it would be to watch somebody in the middle of the
Oh
race
yeah, wasabi. But
eat that.
wasabi's not that. That would probably kill somebody. But a little wasabi, like just right inside the hot dog, just give them a little it'd be like a boost. Like, oh yeah.
If you were going to spectate a cycling race, cyclocross is probably the most fun, because people do stuff like that just for their own entertainment.
Yeah, I'm definitely. If I can bring myself to go to a cyclocross race and bring back those memories of the suffering, I'm definitely taking hot dogs and wasabi. So, if I remember right, try, and then I did end up remembering you from VO2, and now you're transitioning into mountain biking, and we're probably going to talk you into doing the Bluegrass Cup Enduro. What about War Daddy?
So I'm currently registered for War Daddy. I probably have just made a donation because I'm struggling figuring out that weekend with childcare, and just frankly, I am not in the shape that I wanted to be in at this point in the year.
I told you, speaking of childcare, I did tell you that I'm going to be there with the tent. She can hang out with me, and I think Laura's going. Not sure if Zach will be there, but I think maybe Will. But we can watch her during the race if you want. Just I'm putting that out there. But
Appreciate that.
actually, you were talking about childcare. So you had told me that one of the things that kind of, you had a baby, and that kind of was part of this transition, right?
Yeah. So after I had my daughter, I was cycling a little bit, but it was not consistent. I kept falling off. And really, once I started kind of mountain biking and testing out the waters there, I enjoy being on the trails. And so that would bring me more fulfillment than just like going out and trying to get in a quick road ride or ride by myself on the road. I don't think that's as fun. So that was kind of an
Wait, you don't think riding on the road by yourself is fun?
Not always. Like if I'm...
I just can't imagine it ever just riding. I mean, unless I was in some beautiful place. But in Louisville, Kentucky, just riding on the road. I mean, like cars are coming by and they're almost hitting you. They're honking at you.
Yeah, it's not the most fun. So being able to be off-road and on trails is definitely like... I enjoy that, and it makes me want to ride more.
Yeah, I like riding, like when I ride my road bike, if I'm just doing it for like exercise, because I exercise all the time, as y'all can tell by the looks of me. I go out to I like the parklands, because you can ride all the way to one side of town and the other, and you never have to be on the road. It's all paved paths, and it's 40 miles. You go out and back, it's 40 miles, and you get about, what was it, like 28, almost 20,000 feet.
Elevation, yeah.
2,000 feet maybe.
I like the parklands too, but there are just some areas that get really narrow. So if there are other people and a bunch of people riding, like a group ride or something, it gets a little dicey in those
I'm thinking
spaces.
like by yourself, that'd be a good place. Or like
a
couple people, So the group rides, that's a whole different ball game. That makes me, I went to Tuesday Night Worlds, have you heard of that? A few times, and that's where a group of really, really fast road bikers and then a lot of people that maybe aren't so fast but think they're fast go out there. There's like 50 people show up and they get in this, what do you call those things? Peloton?
Yeah.
And you're in there and you have to like draft and you have to watch the people like 3 bikes ahead to see what they're doing. Because if you watch the person right in front of you, I mean, you're screwed. Because as soon as that guy makes a move, it's too late. Now you're out. And then just staying in that pack and right on someone's tail and having to trust 30 or 40 other people. I'm just waiting for the domino effect.
That gets really dicey and really scary. And I attempted a few road races, at that point I really enjoyed riding on the road, but that whole getting packed in with bikes and then having to just kind of hope for the best that nobody in front of you goes down is terrifying.
Well, I used to have fun with it because like I would get in that pack and I would just, as long as I could, I would just hang in there. And I'd get beside a couple of people that I knew that's what they do. So I just try and do what they do. But, even though I might not be the most competitive, I'm definitely not the most competitive, probably competitive at all road rider, I would just attack. That would be like the little game I would play. Because a lot of times I'd show up to those things and nobody really knew who I was, because I don't ride road all the time. So I'd show up and I used to get a kick out of like getting in the group and just sitting in, because we used to go around the fairgrounds. Like I probably did it like 10 times. We'd go around the fairgrounds over and over. I think one lap around was a couple miles or something.
Yeah, I think so.
And each race, because it's kind of a race, Tuesday Night Worlds, it was kind of a race. And then, so we'd go around like, it'd be like 5 laps. I'd get on like lap 2 and I was starting to get, a little tired maybe. And I was like, all right, I'm going to attack now. I just take off and attack. Just pull out, just take off. And, I'm good at attacking. It lasts about 50 yards. Like, that's not very far. So I would attack and just blow up the whole group. They'd be like, who's this guy? And they'd be start chasing me. And I'd be like, I'd pull over. And then they'd all be all tired. And different people had opportunities to win. But that was fun. We did a poker run one time with my buddy Jimmy, and he's the only person that knew me, and the poker run was like a race. How many times you can go around, and we got to a point in Cherokee where there's a hill. So I was like, I'm not going to win this. I'm going to do like my 7 laps and get my poker hand, and that's it. But it always becomes a race. When they were all sitting in, all the exercisers, like I call them exercisers, the ones that ride all the time and they're fit and they train and they have their power meters. So they were all just sitting in with each other, doing their little thing. And I was like, yeah, here's a good hill. And I just blew it. I just punched it. Like I hit the gas and flew up the hill, and they all just, like ding, ding, ding. They took off chasing me. I got to the top of the hill, and I beat everybody to the top of the hill, but then they were just all revved up, and they took off. And Jimmy the whole time was sitting there like, he told me later, he's like, man, that was, he goes, you just killed the whole ride. I was like, yeah, I was just trying to like level the playing field out, right?
I feel like that's the difference though in road riding, and there's no shade in that, but road riding is very competitive. And if you're going to ride with a group, it's usually a race. We're like comparing numbers, power meter, like what power are you putting out? Whereas mountain bike rides, it's more about people that...
Well, a little bit. I mean, we still do that competitive stuff. Like, I mean, you ever hear like, oh, especially this is like, I'm not saying anything bad about road riders because mountain bikers do it too. But I like it when we get there and we're going, oh, it's gonna be an easy day for me. My legs are tired from yesterday. This is my off, or what do you call it? This is my rest day.
Yeah.
It's like every time you go on a ride, it's like everybody has to put that asterisk out there. Mm-hmm. This is my rest day. So it's like, then you start riding and they just smoke you. They just blow your doors off. It's like, why did you say it was your rest day? It's just in case I beat you. You said it's your rest day. That way it's like you don't have to. It's like none of that really matters to me.
We obviously ride with different people because I don't have that experience riding mountain bikes, but I also ride mainly with women, and it seems like
I was just trying to be nice to the road riders.
Okay, that group, the groups, there are groups that you can fit into if you're not trying to be competitive, if you're just trying to enjoy riding. No shade to road riders because sometimes that's fun too to get out there and compete.
Yeah, I love being competitive, and when I'm not competitive, I love blowing the ride up. Because, like misery loves company, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't like climbing very much, which is why I've been riding my e-bike a lot lately. And I've experienced something yesterday, I think, because normally I would ride my regular bike for X amount of days, and then I'd ride my e-bike. Now I've been riding my e-bike for X amount of days, like a lot of days. And then yesterday I went on my Amish bike. And
not your Amish.
It was a nightmare. I was like, what is wrong with me? So I'm going to have to change things around a bit. E-bikes are good, and you burn fat. But my legs have gotten really weak because that power,
Climbing, when you dedicate time to climbing, that's where my strength is. Just because I spent so much time trying to work on climbing when I was getting into cycling. And it's where you can really take an advantage on people. So I'm not a great descender, so I usually get gains in climbing. But I need to be a better descender. I don't get
gains on climbing usually. It's not where I make my gains. But yeah, you gotta pick your spots. And I do think that something that gets lost in mountain bike races a lot is like I'll hear people say stuff like, well, I'll make up time on the descents, which is hard. And then I'll make up time on climbs, which is really hard, but you can definitely make up time on climbs, but then there's a certain amount of energy that gets burnt.
Yeah.
I feel like the real place you can really make up time in a place that a lot of people don't practice is cornering and turns. Like, think about if you're racing 20 miles. I don't know how many turns would be every mile, but there's probably 100 turns per mile or something, 100 corners you're going to take per mile, maybe. I don't know. Just doing quick math, but if you can gain a half a second on every 60, corners, that's a half a second. That's 30 seconds. That's a lot of time. This is gonna make the video even better. Anyway, cornering. Bam. So
I agree with that, but technical skills in general, I feel like if your technical skills are better, you can go through things faster. You aren't going to come unclipped or have to put a foot down, and it just saves you so much time.
Yeah. So practice cornering. That's my advice. Back to babies.
Yeah.
How you were talking about how to transition. How do you train? Like being a single mom, and when do you get time to? Because I remember when my kids were little babies, I had like so little time to do anything.
The truth is,
which is fine.
It's just a season of life, and the truth is, some days my only option is the trainer. So it's trainer or nothing, and I'm not the biggest fan of the trainer. I don't love it. I don't love being on the trainer. But if you are wanting to be competitive in any kind of sense, or getting back into shape, a trainer is a good option for a mom or dad who has a little one.
I have to agree with that. And whenever I do get on my trainer, like I do it in like, I don't know, sometimes like I'll do it for like a few weeks. It makes a big difference when I actually just go ride, because it's like you get on that trainer and you're like, you have like some kind of goal. You're going to go for 20 miles. You're going to try and maintain a certain, and then I use, what's it called? Zwift. There's like little training apps on there, or I'll just get on Zwift and I'll invite people that are faster than me. And then I'll sit there and struggle to keep up with them the whole time, which makes me, get a better workout. Where if I'm just by myself riding, I'll just kind of chill.
It's not as fun, yeah.
And it's not as much fun. So yeah, what else? You got any other tips?
That for sure, but also sometimes a babysitter is necessary. Putting yourself and your health first at times is really necessary just for that balance, because raising a child is not the easiest thing. And so for me, being on the trails in general is just like really grounding. And so I find a lot of peace, and sometimes you just need that as a mom or a dad.
Her daughter, I bet, is pretty easy to raise. She's got a lot of character. I met her before I knew that she was Lara's daughter, because I knew her dad. And I went over his house one day because he's a bike mechanic, and he was building some extra bikes for us so we could keep up with the everything going on. And I brought I don't know why, but I think I had a cake, and I brought it inside, maybe so it wouldn't sit in the car because I was going to go in for a few minutes. And I went back and looked at his, he was showing me his little area where he builds bikes and stuff like that. I was checking it out. And I set the cake like on the table or in the kitchen, and I went back in there to get it, and it was gone. And I was like, where'd the cake go? And what's her name? I'm sorry.
MK.
MK. And he's like, oh my gosh. He's like, MK, And she was in her room with the door locked, eating the cake. She ate the cake. There was no cake left. And I think that was when she was like maybe 2.
Yeah. She has always been very strong-willed. She's also very athletically inclined, and she loves to jump. So like at 2, she would climb on top of her dresser and then scream, "Mom, watch this." And from that point on, I learned that "watch this" are like my least 2 favorite words. And so I would say like, please don't. I don't even know what you're doing, but don't.
I'm not
so
looking,
she would like try to make the jump from her dresser to her bed, and it was terrifying. But
did she make it?
Yeah, she did. And and because of that, like, she has zero fear, so she's really good at like Nulu at the climbing gym, bouldering. Awesome. But she'll climb up really high, and then instead of climbing back down, she just jumps from.
Oh wow! So we need to get her on. She needs to race enduro pretty soon, probably.
She got a mountain bike. That's what she asked for Christmas. She got her first like really cool mountain bike, and yeah, I hope she gets into it. She really wants to learn how to do jumps.
Well, there's some people that can teach her around here for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know anything else. What else you got?
I think that's it. I think I do a lot of like burnout coaching and consulting. So when you're talking about being a mom or a parent or a new parent, I think it's important, because just like anything else, you can get, it's really chaotic and high stress. So just for your own sake, when you can sneak out and get in a ride, do it.
She is a good burnout coach, that's for sure. I have, at times, I'm usually like super happy, but every once in a while I get a little stressed out, and I get free burnout coaching from her. I don't really ask if it's free, or I don't ask if I should pay, but I call. I'm like, hey, so what do you think about this? And she kind of tends to, I don't know, just kind of level everything out and make it make sense again. Because when you get all stressed out, you don't think you're like, oh, this is stupid, But Laura's really good for that. So yeah,
But I think that's true just in general, like having a support team. And I think that if you are wanting to get back into cycling, get back into shape, like having a group of people to ride with, like finding a group is always good. If there's a local bike shop that you can connect with, I highly recommend that, because it is nice to have other people that you can rely on, go to ask questions when you need it. And N+1 has been great about that and trying to get back into this scene, and building kind of like a women's team, which is really cool.
Yeah, there's a good women's team for sure.
So if you're wanting to get back into it, reach out for support and with people that know what they're doing and can help you along the way.
All right. I have nothing else today. Peace out.
Bye.
Can't believe I did that.